So you're one of those folks, huh? Bit curious about all these diets you see around.
Well, you've come to the right place. Because let me tell you, it's not just about jumping on the bandwagon.
No, no, not at
When
all.
it comes to diets, it's way more than just, trying to fit into those old jeans.
It really is fascinating when you start digging deeper, right? It's about like how different ways of eating can actually impact your whole life, your energy, how you feel, all that.
Absolutely.
And I gotta be honest, researching for this deep dive, some of these diets, downright intriguing.
What gets me is how they each have their own sort of personality.
Like their own vibe.
Exactly. Some are all about those macros,
Mhm.
the protein, carbs, and fats. Others are more like, hey, it's not what you eat, it's when you eat.
Time-based eating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally different approaches.
It's like a buffet, but for your like dietary philosophy.
Exactly. So, ready to dig in?
Let's do this. First up, we're heading to like the dream vacation spot, the Mediterranean. Picture this: sun, sand, and a plate full of fresh veggies, fish glistening with olive oil, maybe some juicy tomatoes. That's the heart of the Mediterranean diet.
And the beauty of it, it's more of a lifestyle than a diet. No wonder it's been linked to like people living longer, healthier lives, especially when it comes to their hearts.
Really makes you think twice about those processed snacks, doesn't it?
It really does. Now let's switch gears to a diet that's all about flipping the script on how your body uses energy. Like the ketogenic diet, or keto for short.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been getting a ton of buzz lately, especially for folks looking to drop weight fast.
So what's the deal with keto? Why is everyone talking about it?
Well, it's all about drastically cutting down on carbs, bread, pasta, you name it, and loading up on healthy fats. This puts your body into a state called ketosis.
Ketosis, right. I've heard that term thrown around.
Yeah, and that's where your body starts burning fat for fuel instead of those carbs it's used to.
Interesting. But I imagine it must take like serious willpower to ditch the carbs like that.
It definitely requires commitment, that's for sure. Not for the faint of heart. But now, how about a diet where it's less about what you eat and more about when you eat? That's where intermittent fasting comes in.
Ah, intermittent fasting. The trendy one, right.
It's definitely gained traction, and for good reason. It's super flexible.
Yeah.
So instead of dictating specific foods, it's all about cycling between periods of eating and fasting.
Right, like the 16-8 method I've heard about.
Exactly. You fast for 16 hours, then have an 8-hour window for eating. And the cool thing is you can totally tailor it. Some folks combine it with other ways of eating too.
Okay, so lots of options with that one. Now, how about we rewind the clock way back to the Paleolithic era? Cavemen, no processed food in sight. That's the paleo diet, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
The paleo diet basically says, let's eat like our hunter-gatherer ancestors.
Okay.
Think whole foods, lean meats, fish, fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, all that good stuff.
Sounds pretty healthy, but kind of tough to do with all the tempting treats we have nowadays.
For sure. Processed foods are everywhere. And let's be real, finding paleo-friendly options when you're out and about. Not always easy.
Makes sense. And lastly, let's dive into a diet that's making waves not just for health, but for ethical and environmental reasons too. The vegan diet.
Veganism. It's definitely having a moment, and for good reason. People are driven by a desire to protect animals, reduce their environmental impact, and of course, reap those plant-powered health benefits.
And it seems way more doable these days with all the plant-based alternatives popping up everywhere.
Totally. We're talking burgers, sausages, cheeses, even ice cream, all made from plants. It's amazing to see how far it's come.
It's really cool to see how all these different approaches to food can be like a path to a healthier, more fulfilling life.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
But I think the biggest takeaway here is there's no one right answer.
Yeah, one size fits all. Not in the world of diets.
Exactly. What works for your best friend might not work for you. And that's okay. It's about figuring out what works for you, your lifestyle, your preferences, all that jazz.
Couldn't agree more. And hey, if you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed, talking to a healthcare professional or a registered dietitian can be a game changer.
100%. They can help you navigate all the options and find what truly aligns with your needs.
Now, before we wrap up, I've got to leave you with something to ponder. We've explored some popular diets, but remember, there's a whole world of lesser-known approaches out there just waiting to be discovered. Ever heard of the Mind diet? It's designed to help keep your brain sharp as a tack.
Oh, I love that one.
Or how about the flexitarian diet? It's all about embracing plant-based meals while still allowing for a bit of wiggle room if you're not ready to give up, say, that occasional burger. The bottom line, keep exploring, keep experimenting, And who knows, you might just stumble upon that perfect dietary match made just for you.
Now you're thinking like a true food